everybody, it's Ashley with Posh Crochet Patterns. Today's video is we are going to make a matching headband to go with these Granny Square ballerina slippers. So I have one square here. So we will make multiple squares of this flower granny square, and then we will stitch them together to make a really adorable headband. The yarn that I am using for this tutorial is yarn Bee Velvety Smooth Sparkle. So we will start off in the center here, and the color I'm using for our center is olive. And then the flower portion right here, I will be using Ivory. And then the outside here, this pretty pink, I will be using the color Blush. So this yarn is, I would say, very close to a bulky 5. It's just slightly bigger than a regular 4 yarn. So the hook size we will be using, let's see, the hook size that we will be using for this size weight yarn, if I can get that to focus in, is a 5.5 millimeter I9. And this is just a regular LionBrand bamboo wooden hook. And we will also need a yarn needle. And this is just a bigger eye for the bulkier yarn. And just a few stitch markers. I would say at least 4. It's not totally necessary to use them, but it might help. So I have some white yarn here that kind of stands out that I might use as the stitch markers. Or you can use just regular stitch markers if you'd like. So yeah, so you just need your 3 different colors of yarn for your square, your 5.5 millimeter hook, your yarn needle, and optionally 4 stitch markers. So we will begin with the color that we will use for our middle portion here. And I am using the color Olive. It's just a dark green, and it's got some gold flakes in it that I really like. So we will start off making a magic ring. And I'm just going to use this quick, easy, fast method. We will chain 1. We will make 8 single crochets in the magic ring. And I've made 4 single crochets so far. And I'm just going to use this hack and pull that yarn tail out. And then I will make the rest of my 4 single crochets only around this piece of yarn right here. That's 5, 6, 7, and and 8. And that's what that looks like so far. So you see that yarn tail, we only worked around that yarn tail for 4 single crochets. So we will pull this yarn tail and tighten that down. So in that first single crochet, let's see, let me make sure. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So we want to make our slip stitch in that first single crochet right there. I'm going to pull and tighten that down. I'll turn my music down just a little. We will switch to the color that we're going to use for our flower. And I'm using Ivory. I'm just going to place it just like this. I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to take that green right here. I'm just going to pull and tighten that down. In that same chain, I will make 3 double crochets. So I have my chain 3 and my 3 double crochets. I'm going to pull this loop up. So I'm going to insert it in that top of that chain 3. I'm going to insert my hook into that tall loop. I'm going to pull that down. And I'm just going to pull that through that chain. Let's see. Then I will chain 2. And in that very next chain, I will repeat that with 3 double crochets. It's 1. It's 2. That's 3. We'll pull that loop up. I'm going to insert my hook right here in that first double crochet chain. just going to slide my hook right into that tall loop and pull that down. I'm going to pull that through. Then I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to repeat that in each chain. And we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We want 8 petals, which are these 3 double crochet popcorns. We want a total of 8 of those for our pattern. Just in case if you end up doing one less or one extra, just make sure that you have the 8 petals to go with the pattern. Sometimes it's hard to see the chains with this velvet yarn. Chain 2. Just go right into the next chain, and I'm crocheting over my yarn ends, and I'm just doing that way. Once I'm done with the square, I don't have to hide it as much. I think this is really pretty. It'll be really soft too. And it matches the slippers. I thought this would be a really great gift for Mother's Day for all of our moms. Moms love crochet slippers and headbands. Well, I know my mom does. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals so far. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 1 chain left. On our last petal, on our 8th one, we will chain 2. We will slip stitch into that popcorn, that first one. Now we need to switch to the color that we will use right here. I think I might go ahead and cut these strands here. That's our flower so far. And then now we're going to turn it into a granny square. And I'm using the color blush. So let's see here. So we will do the same thing and just place it just like this. We will chain 3. We will take that white strand, pull and tighten that down. In this chain space right here, the one that we chained to and slip stitched in, this is where we will make our granny stitch, our first one. So in this chain space, we will make 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. So we will yarn over, go into that chain 2 space, and we will make 3 double crochets, chain 1, and another 3 double crochet. And this creates our corner. In this next chain space, right here, we will make 3 double crochets, in this next chain space, we will make another 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. So we have this corner here and this corner here created. Our next chain space will just be 3 double crochet granny stitch. next chain space will be a 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. So we'll be creating another corner. In this next chain space will only be 3 double crochets. In this next chain space, we will make another corner by making 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. In this last chain space, we will make just 3 double crochets. Let's see here. In the chain for our first double crochet, we will slip stitch join, see how pretty that is? So we have our corners right here and right down here. So now we just need to cut our yarn tail. We need to weave in all of these. You can either use a yarn needle or your crochet hook if you want. Just gonna go ahead and cut that. I'm going to pull that through that last loop to bind that off. This is the back. So we'll grab a smaller hook. I'm just going to weave in my yarn ends in the back to hide them. And that's all you got to do for now. After you're done with that, we will make 5 granny squares total for our headband. So after you make the first one and weave in your yarn ends, repeat this process. Make 4 more granny squares, and I will meet you back then to sew them up to create our headband. At the front facing me, and what I've done with my 4 stitch markers here is I put one on each corner in the chain 1 space, and I will show you how to find your chain 1 space. So we will go to the corner here and we will spread it apart, and you see this chain right here that's in the middle? That's our chain 1. So I will insert my hook there in that chain 1, and I will just pull. Make sure, is that in there good? No, it's not. Hold on. So we spread that apart. Just want to get in that chain there. There we go. I just want to pull. There we go. That yarn tail. This stitch marker I'm using here. We're just going to do that in each corner. So this one right here, it's our chain 1. Now we'll do this all the way around. Well, in each corner, I mean. Do this in each corner, in the 4 corners. Just like this. And I also want to show you all real quick. So I had made, if you're interested, I had made this daisy flower granny square slippers. They're like ballerina slippers. There's another tutorial on my channel on how to make this to match the headband. But after making, and mine are 10 inches long, so after making the pair with this granny square was just like an example of granny square. And then I made these 6. So after I made a size 10 pair of slippers, 7 granny squares, I had this much left over in my yarn skein. And that yarn skein has 161 yards in it. So that way you all know, if you get this yarn skein, you can make the headband and the pair of slippers. So we're going to stitch our squares together. So we're going to need our yarn needle. So I cut my sewing thread 15 inches, so about 15-inch long thread. We're going to go into where we put that stitch marker. We're just going to pull that through, leave a little bit hanging out. We're going to go under the next one. We're going to pull that through. Let's see here. We're going to go under the next chain on the opposite side. I'm going to pull these those stitch markers out now. Then I'm going to go under the next chain on the opposite side. And I'm just going to repeat this method I want to pull it tight though. I'll go over here to the next one on the opposite side. And do that on the opposite side. And we're joining these together. So we're just going under, insert under the chain, then going across the other granny square and go under in the chain. And that's how we're going to join these together. And we're going to do this same method on each side, joining the squares together until we're finished. And we're just going to do this until we get to the stitch marker at the top. So it's a nice, pretty, neat join. It looks like I'm at my stitch marker now, so I'm just going to go into that chain. Pull that through. I'm going to pull that stitch marker out. Now I'm going to go into this stitch marker right here. And pull that out. There we go. So our square's joined. Now we just need to turn it on the opposite side. Now we just need to weave them in and out of the threads here in the back of our work to hide it. Well, let's see. If you want, you can always put some stitches with sewing thread right here to make sure it doesn't come apart, especially when you wash it. I like to do that with a lot of my crochet pieces. You know, just to make sure it doesn't come apart. If I know for sure that I like it and I'm not taking it apart, then And I'll do that with just regular sewing thread and sewing needle. All right, that's good. So that's all you need to do. So like on this side here, I'm going to spread this apart. That's our chain 1 right there. So we're going to go right into that. Put one of these stitch markers there. Go on the opposite side, do the same thing. It's just a helpful guide. And then grab our next square. We look for that chain 1 right there. I hope you all like this video. Don't forget about the slippers, the daisy flower ballerina slippers. Use this square to make the slippers. It's actually really easy. It's an easy tutorial, and it'll match this headband. And then I have another tutorial coming up on how to make this coaster, this flower coaster here with the granny stitches. So yeah, so I want to thank you all for watching this video, and if you'd like to subscribe, that would be great. That would help me out a lot if you did, and I will see you all soon. Thank you all. Bye-bye. I had sewn on the 5 granny squares together. I tried it on and it does fit very well. So this yarn and the way it's made, it has a lot of good stretch to it. So for an adult size, I would definitely use the 5 granny squares. And if by chance you have a much larger head than I would say 23 inches, then I would add an additional square to that. So 23 inches and up, I would do the 6 squares. My head size is 21 inches all the way around, and this stretched and fit my head perfect. So yes, I would definitely use the 5 squares for an adult small, adult medium, and then for like a large, extra large, I would add the extra square. So yeah, so thank you all. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.